Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another commentary video for League of Legends, this one featuring Lux. This is the 200th video that I've put up on my channel. It's not my 200th League of Legends video, but it is the 200th one that's going up on my channel total. So to celebrate that, I'm going to put up just a simple custom 5v5 practice game from our latest Tuesday night game night. So this is a relaxed, not super competitive atmosphere, just should be a fun game here. I'm playing along with Speaker, who's playing as Malzahar, Mookie, who's playing as Trundle, Atlas, who's playing as Ashe, and Dakota Christopher, who's playing as Garen. Now, we put Dakota on our team because I believe at the time this match was played that Dakota was level 13, so he has a lot less experience. So in order to try to balance the teams, we put him on our team. And so he's going to be paired up with the rest of us. Then you can see we're up against a group of YouTube viewers. So we have Ulix, I don't know how to pronounce this, Ulix or something, playing Amumu, SS Magus playing Garen, Johnny Boy playing Jax, Aldaris playing Teemo, and Legacy Saurus playing Katarina. So this is going to be a game between some of the friends that I've had online for a long time, Speaker, Mookie, Atlas, and then Dakota, who we've picked up and who is low level for this game in order to balance the teams, and then a group of YouTube watchers, people who follow this channel. So there we go, there's the clairvoyance right at the start of the game, allowing us to get some of the starting items here. So I'm going to be playing Lux in this game. I hadn't played Lux in a little bit, so I thought I would play her. I do have one of the Lux skins, if you haven't seen this before. I think that this is Sorceress Lux. It's not the Spell Thief one. The Spell Thief skin seems to be the more popular of the two skins, but it's also twice as expensive, so when this skin was on sale I bought it. I do like the little witch hat that Lux wears on this one, so let's zoom in as we can see if we can see that. It's a little harder to see when we're in the brush, but there we go. And we'll try to rotate the camera. Can't see it that great, but there you go, you can see it has the little witch hat there on her head. And I'll zoom back out again. Anyway, in terms of how we wanted to set this up, we decided that we wanted to have Dakota and myself in the bottom lane, so the two of us are going to duo. And for those of you who know the League of Legends sort of story background that they do for this game, the League of Legends lore, I guess you would call it, Garen and Lux, the characters, are supposed to be brother and sister in this game, so we're going to have the all Demacia bottom lane here with Garen and Lux. So we're going to set that up in just a minute. We're just over here to protect our jungler. You can see Mookie's going to be jungling with Trundle. We don't expect the other team to come and try to level 1 fight us here at blue, but just in case that they would, we're going to hang out here for the moment, and then when minions spawn, we're going to head down to the bottom lane and get ready. We're going to have Atlas here with Ashe, do a pull on the golem for Mookie, so standard stuff if you're used to playing this. Just more useful to stand there and protect your jungler in case the other team comes to level 1 team fight. And up there we just caught a glimpse of someone in mid. There's Aldaris' Teemo. He looked like he was probably stealthed at mid, and he has the Astronaut Teemo skin, which is one of the better skins in this game, I think, so nicely done there. Anyway, we're going to head down to bottom lane, so let's try to look at the laning matchups for this game. Now, the one interesting thing is the team that we were playing against decided not to take a jungler. We expected that their Amumu would be jungling here, but he has Teleport Ghost instead of having Smite in there, so that's a little bit surprising. So we are actually going to have a Garen Amumu bottom lane, so Ulix Amumu and Magus is Garen, so we're actually going to have dual Garens down here in the bottom lane. You can see Aldaris' Teemo is in mid, so it's going to be Teemo against Ashe. It's an interesting matchup there. I think I've played that one before. And so because they don't have a jungler, they're going to have two champions in top lane. So Johnny Boy and Legacy Saurus are going to be here in top lane, and Speaker is going to have to take the 2v1 lane with Malzahar, while Mookie jungles with Trundle. So anyway, let's try to focus back here on the bottom lane. I'm going to try to keep an eye on this here. Anyway, Garen used to be one of the strongest champs in the game. Then he was horribly nerfed in a classic case of Riot's over nerfs, and now he is being sort of slowly buffed back up again, so he's back to being at least viable. He's definitely not one of the best tanky DPS champions, but he's back to the point where you can play him and you're not just taking a huge handicap by bringing Garen. So I've started seeing a lot more Garens in the game, but he is definitely not back to where he was when he first started at the game. So Garen's still pretty decent right now. I mean, not the best choice. You would probably want to take a champion like Jarvan or maybe Aurelia, someone like that, over Garen, because they fulfill sort of similar functions on the team. But nonetheless, Garen's still a fine choice. Garen very popular because he's a very sort of beginner-friendly character. He doesn't use mana. He's all just based on cooldowns. He's pretty easy to play. He's the famous spin-to-win character, him and Katarina. So anyway, that's why you see a lot of Garens, particularly amongst people who are starting out. And he's still, like I said, he's still not a terrible champ. So we have the dual Garens here. Expect to see a whole lot of spinning. One interesting thing, though, is Magus hasn't been hiding in the brush, which is what Garen normally does. So we're not seeing that. Amumu, not very great, not too good in lane. One of the weaker laners in this game. He doesn't have any range skills. I mean, he does have his bandage toss, his tears, his tantrum, but none of that really that useful for harassing in lane. Anyway, you can see Magus is getting in some nice harass here on Dakota Christopher. Now, I have done some Lux games before. I don't think I've put a Lux game up in a while. I think the last Lux game I did was that AI versus bots game that I did a little while back to show that the new and improved AI bots are actually pretty terrible. So, in any case, I'll talk a little bit about Lux here. Lux is most similar to Morgana as a champion. They're actually very similar in their champion design. So, what I mean by that is Lux has a binding skill. This is a root in the game. This is a little bit different from a stun. A stun means someone can't do anything and they're frozen in place. A root means that they can't move, but they can still use still auto attack and can still normally use abilities. So that's the difference. So binding is still good, just not quite as good as a stun. So on her Q is called light binding. It's literally the same as Morgana's dark binding. And you'll see me trying to use that here. See, Mookie's coming in for a gank. Mookie has double buff, so we're going to try to go after Magus here. So right here, I'm going to hit on my binding. There it is. Going to freeze Magus in place so he can't get away. And so that, together with that pillar from Mookie, is going to allow us to pick up a kill here. Now, I am a little bit too far behind the rest of the fight. What I really should do is I should be up with the rest of the team. I couldn't get off my slow on Ulix's Amumu, so he is going to slip away. And that was actually rather poor positioning from me. I did a pretty good job to hit on the binding initially on Magus, but that should have been a double kill because they were so far pushed up in lane, and I was just too far back behind the fight. Lux's skills have really far range, but not quite as far back as I was playing, so I was a little slow to move forward and commit to that fight, and that was a mistake on my part. Anyway, there's another binding, and right there I'm going to take 2 shots from the tower. Dakota's going to go in and finish him off with his spin, but that tower is going to take him down, so we're going to go 1 for 1 there and trade kills. Anyway, in terms of other Lux skills, the skill that I put the most points in early on is this, her E skill, Lucent Singularity. This is her skill that does the most damage early on. So you can see you throw down a little circle on the ground, creates a zone that slows enemies' units by 24%, and then you can detonate it to damage enemies in the area. So this is really her only area of effect skill, AoE skill, and so it's very useful for farming. Wow, Lux, why is she stretching in the fountain? Interesting. Guess she just decided she got a little tuckered out from that last fight. As I said, her only real area of effect skill, it's very useful for farming minion waves. The slow is pretty useful. In a situation like we just had down here in bottom lane, what I should have done was thrown down my slow, my Lucent Singularity, behind Ulix's Amumu, and then right when he got to the edge of it, detonated to do the damage. So I wasn't able to do that because I was out of position, but this is the skill I'm going to skill up first. I put 1 point in Q at level 1, then put points in E at 2 and 3, and then in level 4, I put a point in Lux's W skill, her Prismatic Barrier. So this is Lux's shield. You can see she throws her wand and back again, and it protects anyone who hits. So the actual value of her shield might not look that good on first glance because it's a lot lower than, say, Janna's shield, but the difference is Lux can theoretically hit everyone on the team with her shield at once. So she can shield up to all 5 champs on the team. So if you can do that, then her shield is actually really good. If you can use it to protect multiple people on your team at once, and they're all getting the benefit. See, there it is. There's the shield. I mean, you can see it doesn't give that much health right. It doesn't give that much health right when you start, but it does. You can hit multiple people on the team, and if you can use it to pile up and shield everybody on your team, and you shield everyone on your team for like 200 damage, that's really good. Anyway, missed on the binding there, so that was unfortunate. If I had hit on that binding, then Mookie would have come in and we would have gotten a kill, so I just missed that one. I really thought that that one was going to hit, so a bit of a mistake there. And then Lux's ultimate, Finalis Funkel, is the official name, but everyone calls this Lux Laser. You can see Lux channels for about 1 second, then fires a stream of light in front of her. Her ultimate has extreme range. It can hit people about 2 screens away. It deals very respectable damage. The damage was really low when Lux first came out, and everyone was sort of like, why would we play this champ? Morgana's just much better. But they've increased the ability power ratio. She now actually, I think she has a 0.8 or 0.85, something like that, ratio on her ultimate, which is pretty good. And the other key advantage of her ult is it's on a very short cooldown. It starts at like 70 seconds, but with max cooldown reduction, she can use it every 24 seconds, and it's pretty easy to get max cooldown reduction on Lux. So anyway, there we go. Going to hit on that binding on Ulix, and that's going to allow Dakota to get in some nice harass there by spinning in as Garen. Coming out of the brush, like all good Garen should. So going to do pretty well there. Anyway, now you can see Mookie's circling around for another gank, and so right there I'm going to hit on the slow, and then I'm going to miss on the binding because the pillar pushes Ulix out of the way. We're getting a good harass, and there we go. Going to finish him off with Lux Laser. So going to get that kill. Mookie diving after Magus, going to shield him to at least limit how much damage he takes. So we haven't quite gotten Magus, but he's still very exposed here. I mean, he's very low, so there's the exhaust going to come in. We're going to try to finish him off here. Unfortunately, I miss on that binding pretty badly, and now I'm out of mana, so I can't shield Mookie, and he is going to get taken down by that tower. But apparently Magus didn't hit him, so they are not going to get credit for that kill. So that means that we come out ahead there. Oh, and Magus saying lag cheaters. Well, sorry about that. Nothing we can do about that. And here comes the teleport. That teleport to Mumu. Just for future reference, guys, if you're watching this, you really shouldn't take teleport on a Mumu. He's not. There's some champs teleport's very good on, but he's not one of them. Generally, you want champions that are very good at pushing lanes, and the Mumu is actually not that good at pushing lanes. I mean, he can do it with his tears and his tantrum, but he's not the best choice in the world for that. Alright, anyway, so I'm back at base now. I was all out of mana, and our lane was pushed very far up by the tower, so I wasn't going to miss too much farm by going back to buy, so I'm going to do that now. And you can see I have picked up a new item in League of Legends, Alace's Miracle. Speaker, by the way, is just doing work in top lane. You can see 3-0-0 in the 2v1 lane, so he is just kicking butt up there. But because the health bars don't show and they get all bugged out, I'm going to try to focus more on my lane. So in any case, that's what's going on there. We're doing quite well there. In mid, I'll just check on mid. Atlas, 49 minion kills. Eldaris, 63. So Eldaris is winning that middle lane. You can see nobody's died, but Eldaris is out farming him. So Eldaris doing a nice job there. Meanwhile, as I was saying, in terms of items, on my first trip back, I picked up Boots of Speed. I started with Doran's ring, because that works pretty well on Lux. There's the what is it? The exhaust coming in from Magus. So Dakota almost taken out. Here comes an Ash arrow, fired in by Atlas in middle lane. Doesn't hit anybody, but if they had been diving tower, it would have. So a pretty good arrow. Anyway, Dakota's going to go back. Did a nice job of managing to get out of there. Good exhaust. They almost managed to chase down Dakota there. As I was saying, this is one of the new items, Alace's Miracle, just introduced in the most recent patch as I cast this. This is one of the new Tenacity items. That is, Tenacity basically does what Mercury Tread does. That is, it reduces the amount of crowd control you take. It reduces crowd control by 25%. This is a great item for supports. It builds out of Philosopher's Stone. So you can see it gives all the same benefits of Philosopher's Stone. It gives health regen, mana regen, and gives Tenacity as well. So really, really good item. If you can build a Philosopher's Stone early on for the gold per 5 benefit, and then build it into an Alace's Miracle later on. Really good on a champ like Lux, who you normally want to build cooldown boots on. Anyway, right there, getting in some good harass on Magus. Gonna try to finish him off with Lux Laser, but I actually missed. Don't think it would have killed him anyway, but it would have taken him down to the point where maybe we could dive and get the kill. So missed on that one. Anyway, really good item, so good. I think there's a decent chance this item's going to be nerfed because it's a really, really good item at a very cheap cost. Anyway, Mookie diving here behind the tower. Gonna walk behind the tower to get out of turret range. You can see we've got Ulix and Magus quite low, so now we're gonna come in. I'm gonna continue throwing shields to try to minimize the damage we're taking. There we go, Mookie gonna finish off Ulix is a Mumu there. Now Magus also quite low. Gonna try to get this kill. Mookie almost dead, but is gonna manage to survive with 150 HP. So that was a successful dive there. Dakota was back at base for a while. I wonder if he was disconnected or something, or had to leave. But anyway, Mookie and I diving. Gonna clean up the kill pretty easily there, and then gonna farm up these minions. So yeah, Lux's passive, I haven't even talked about her passive. In case you haven't noticed, every time Lux damages somebody with a skill, she charges them with energy, and then her next auto attack ignites the energy and deals bonus damage. It's a simple little passive, but it's a nice one. You can see anytime you use an ability, you create that illumination, and then illumination effect, and then you can trigger it with an auto attack. So it makes it easier to farm. So like right now, I'm going to detonate her Lucent Singularity, and now all the minions have that illumination passive, and that's going to allow me to finish them off in one auto attack. So it makes it easier to farm, deals a little extra damage. Generally speaking, you know, when you want to combo with Lux, you want to get in one auto attack after each hit. So Binding, one auto attack, Lucent Singularity, one auto attack, Ultimate, and then your ultimate also actually triggers the illumination debuff. So her ultimate will actually trigger that passive as well. Anyway, Speaker was killed in top lane. One thing Speaker said after the game was that once Johnny Boy and Legacy Stars hit 6, that is once they got their ultimates, it was much harder for him to 2v1 in the lane. Anyway, here, going to get in some harass on Magus there. You can see, managed to hit him with a Binding, managed to then hit him with Lucent Singularity. And there's the shield to just make sure we don't take too much damage. So that's going to mean we don't take any damage. Exhaust coming in from Dakota there. I'm not sure that was necessarily the right moment, but it is going to let me hit on the Binding there. There's the Lucent Singularity, and now Magus is quite low. Can I finish him off? Yes. Together with Dakota popping his ultimate. Isn't it like Demacia Injustice or something? So gonna finish off that kill together, the two of us combining, using our ults at almost exactly the same moment. You'd think that we planned that, even though it actually was kind of a coincidence. But anyway, we are gonna score that kill on Magus, and so we've been able to win this bottom lane pretty well. We're gonna hit on that Binding on Ulix, and I'm not gonna be able to hit on the Lucent Singularity. Anyway, for a support like Lux, as I was saying, Alace's Miracle so good because it gives you that health. It gives you the health and mana regen that lets you stay in lane. and then it also gives you that tenacity, gives you the resistance to crowd control effects, because on Lux you really want to build cooldown boots. I mean, given a choice, they're really the boots you want in most circumstances. I mean, you can build Sork shoes or Merc treads, but on Lux the cooldown boots I found it to be really, really good. So that's the way I would play Lux right now, at least in the way the game's set up right now. Get cooldown boots, get Philosopher's Stone at some point while you're laning, and then later turn your Philosopher's Stone into Oasis Miracle. I probably actually should have held off on turning the Philo Stone into this, just because it does lose the gold per 5 benefit that Philosopher's Stone gives you. So probably should have held off until later, but I do really like this item. And in all honesty, I think it's so good it's probably going to get nerfed sometime soon. Anyway, up top, Mookie Speaker diving after Legacy Sars, but Legacy is going to pop that ultimate, going to pop her Death Lotus. Oh, oops, meanwhile, missed a kill on bottom lane. Yeah, Dakota a little bit out of position. They just started chasing and had enough damage to finish him off. And you can see Dakota even saying, forgot about the ult. Magus getting the kill with the Garen ult there. So turns the tables there and gets the kill on Dakota here in bottom lane. Overall, though, Dakota was playing pretty well. I mean, since he was the sort of the low level guy here, the guy who had played the fewest League of Legends games. And right there, you see how slow Lux's auto attack is. Not too fast, but then again, she's an AP mage support type champion, so not going to be too good at auto attacking. Anyway, because there's no jungler, Mookie just sort of roaming the enemy team's jungle at will here, not having any real issues, no real danger, and just feeling free to roam in there. Anyway, now I wasn't sure where Magus was, so I clairvoyanced the brush, and it didn't look like he was down here. Did a pretty good job of farming up that minion wave, and you can see Dakota's heading over to back to join me. In terms of farming, I'm doing pretty well for duo lane here. You can see I'm actually even with Speaker, but that's because Speaker has been playing in 2v1 lane. There, I was planning on heading back to base shortly, so I just figured I'd burn my ultimate to get a few more creep kills. Why not? I mean, I'm Lux. By the time I get back to base, it's already going to be almost back up. Meanwhile, you can see Magus, instead of going back to bottom, has now gone up to top, and together, as part of a 3-man gank, Legacy, Johnny Boy, and Magus all went up there, and they managed to get a kill on Speaker. And Mookie's trying to hold the tower right now. Anyway, we were able to push over that tower in bottom lane. You can see Dakota was able to finish it off there, and now he's continuing to engage with Ulix going back and forth. I have finished my cooldown boots as Lux, so now I have the 15% cooldown reduction. Mookie is chasing Johnny Boy, but he is chasing into a 1v2, and that's always a dangerous thing, especially when you have double buff. And that was not the best decision to engage in there, particularly because even if Mookie got the 1 kill, he was going to go 1 for 1, and he was going to hand somebody on their team that double buff he had. So that really wasn't the best decision there in retrospect. I guess the thinking was that he could get a kill and get away, but unfortunately that wasn't possible. As it turned out. Anyway, so for the moment, because everybody was out of top lane, I headed up here just to cover it for Speaker until he can get back to the lane, so that, and just grab the golden experience. I'm now going to start heading bottom, but on the way to bottom, I'm going to try to gank middle lane here. You can see I'm going to try to pair up with Atlas, so Atlas knows I'm coming here. I'm going to circle around here to the back. I'm going to wait for these minions to pass so they don't see me, and we're going to have Atlas initiate. There's an Ash Arrow point blank range, not much of a stun, but it is going to get the engagement. There I go, hit on the binding, so we're going to deal some damage here, and can I finish him off with that laser? Yes, Lux can, and that's always one of the more entertaining ways to get a kill in this game. Anyway, I'm going to run back and shield Atlas just to prevent some of the damage from that team of Mushroom. Meanwhile, in top lane, you can see Johnny Boy, Legacy Saurus going in again, going to engage on Speaker, and they actually are going to pick up that kill. So after being dominated early on, they really have come back in this lane. You can see Speaker was 3-0, and Speaker's now 3-3, and Speaker said that this was a very frustrating lane. Anyway, meanwhile in bottom lane, Dakota was taken down by Magus in bottom lane, so Garen on Garen action there, getting a kill. And unfortunately, I wanted to stay with Dakota in that bottom lane. I wanted to sort of be there to help him out in that lane, but because I was sort of running around the map trying to cover other lanes, I couldn't be down there, and that was probably part of the reason why they were able to get that kill. He was in a 2v1 lane because I believe that Ulix was still down there, and that they still had Amumu and Garen both down in bottom lane. And that clairvoyance from me was checking to see if they were still trying to push this lane. So anyway, I am trying to head back down the bottom lane here, just because I think that I would rather give Speaker the solo lane farm. Anyway, you can't really see it here, but I walked over a mushroom. That's why I was taking damage and slowed, and that's going to let Aldaris know that I'm on my way mid, so he's just going to hurry out of there. Oh, and unfortunately here, Ulix turns out to be right here, and I actually wasn't even looking there. I was looking down here at bottom lane at the time. I didn't even realize that I actually ran right past him without even knowing that he had hit me there. So that wasn't so great. One thing that we should have been doing during this game was focusing more on Dragon. You can see we haven't really gone in and had any Dragon fights fights here. I saw Ulix going in there, but then, uh-oh, Magus is there too, so that's not a fight I want to get involved in. I need to stay at long range if I'm going to play as Lux. Lux, at least I can shield myself from team-up poison there, but Lux need to stay at a distance. Lux can't get close with people. She's very squishy. Only have 30 magic resist, 52 armor. So here we go. Going to continue engaging Atlas, hitting a point-blank Ash Arrow. I'm going to try to get off my ultimate here. I wanted to hit Aldaris, actually miss him. You can see I'm trying to stay in the back. Should be doing a better job of shielding, though. I'm not hitting too many Lux shields. Like right there, I should have shielded. I am going to hit Aldaris on a binding here, though, and going to try to trigger that Lucid Singularity. Aldaris is actually going to walk back into it, but I don't trigger it. I guess I wasn't paying attention. There, though, up there, Mookie and Dakota going to chase down Magus. Going to get the kill there. Can Aldaris finish off Mookie? No, doesn't look like he can. So Mookie is going to slip out of here, and I'm actually going to run back. I wanted to shield him. I was worried about him hitting a mushroom and him just dying. Fortunately, that didn't happen, though. At this point, I was like, Mookie, go back to base, because he could have walked over a mushroom and then just died there. Fortunately, that did not happen, though. And in the meantime, after winning this fight, it looks like Mookie's going to try to take blue. And yes, he is going to take the blue buff there. So, nicely done. He was able to lifesteal using some of Trundle's abilities. What does he have? He does have the Wriggles, so that's going to give him a decent amount of lifesteal. Anyway, and now we're going to go and use this interval to go and take Dragon, take the first Dragon of the match. So, because we had a jungler and their team didn't have a jungler, we really had pretty much free access to early Dragon, so it's something we should have been focusing more on. And I'm not sure why everybody left Mookie when the Dragon was almost dead. Oh well. Over here, Dakota is running to Ulix, and here comes Magus as well. And in all honesty, this really isn't a good fight. We just took a lot of damage from doing Dragon. So, I mean, as much as we might like to chase this, it's just not really a good engage. And I think that we are indeed going to do the smart thing and just back off here, not try to engage. Anyway, I'm going to go back to farming a little bit. You can see I picked up a blasting wand here because I've been having a good game. Oh, over here, Speaker is going to kill Legacy Source, and then Johnny Boy going to get the kill on Speaker. So going to trade 1 for 1 there, and I think Johnny Boy is going to be able to port out of here before anyone can get over there. Don't expect to have too much trouble there. Anyway, because I'm having a strong game here, I decided that I was going to go for more ability power next instead of survivability, so that's why I've gotten the blasting one. If you notice there, Magus and Ulix were chasing me, but I was able to avoid getting killed. Did take some damage. I threw down my Singularity to slow. They had to walk through it, and that slowed them, allowed me to get away. I think I also binded Magus' Garen at one point in time. You can see that the next I'm skilling my shield, my prismatic barrier, over my light binding. That's because I am interested in supporting the team a little bit more. The shield is really good in team fights if you can use it. I didn't use the shield very well at all in that last team fight, but in other team fights, hopefully in the future, I'll be able to use it. And right there, I used my skills very poorly. There's the slow again on Magus. Didn't even trigger the Lucent Singularity with him in it. So that was pretty poorly done. I missed the shield toss on Dakota, missed the binding, and then my slow, I didn't even manage to hit Magus with it. So not too good. Anyway, as far as playing Lux goes, you can notice how I'm trying to keep my distance here in the background. Like I said, with Lux, you don't want to get too close to the enemy team. You want to stay as far away. You want to stay at a distance. The big advantage of Lux is her range. She has great range on all of her skills, so don't close to melee range if you're playing as Lux. Just stay far away. She has long auto attack distance. Her binding and her slow both have really, really good range. So Magus is going to miss on his... Well, he's not going to hit any of us with his whirlwind there. And so we're going to back off here, and my skills have almost cooled down again. It's nice to have this cooldown reduction. So anyway, just trying to harass. Don't want Garen's passive to keep giving him life back, so I'm just going to try to keep hitting him periodically with auto attacks, so that, not that they're going to do anything, but it's going to prevent Garen's passive from triggering. Now he's trying to chase me, but there we go. I'm just going to bind him, and then while he's in the binding, he's not going to be able to do too much with his whirlwind there. And that time I get off a nice shield on Dakota. There we go, another Lucent Singularity. Just want to trigger that passive if I can on Magus. There we go. So going to get an extra 50 damage off of that. And yeah, so you can see you're doing a pretty good job of harassing Magus down in lane. Unfortunately, going to miss that binding, but oh well. And there we go, going to do some damage with Lucent Singularity. And you can see we're definitely winning in this lane. You can see we're not taking much damage at all. There's the shield, so even though Magus is going to hit me, I'm not really going to take any damage because I have that shield running. And here, going to force Ulix to cancel that blue pill. So just keeping them tied up down here. You can see we're definitely out farming them. I'm up to 83 minion kills. Magus has 37. And let's see, who else is down here? Ulix is 55, so I'm definitely out farming them. Dakota, not as high. And Dakota, this is where, if you're watching this on video, this is where the sort of thing you need to practice. Just not that strong in terms of farming. Anyway, there's a team fight going on in top lane. They're pushing top once again. They've had 3 champs in top for quite some time now. Mookie gonna get the kill on Johnny Boy. Speaker was killed just a little bit earlier, and I'm sure Mookie would like to chase that, but he can't really dive the tower against Legacy Stars. Atlas and Aldaris still laning mid, so let's see how they're doing here. Atlas has really caught up in terms of farm. Aldaris 170, Atlas 163, so they're almost even now. So Atlas, who was behind earlier, has done a nice job of getting back into it, and Atlas does have his Infinity Edge, which is what we want to see. Anyway, here I was getting chased down, and I actually had to blow my flash there a little bit earlier. You didn't see that, I missed that, but I do remember that from the game. Magus was doing a nice job of chasing. I did use my flash just to make sure that I got away, because I was pretty pushed up in this lane, and I needed to make sure that they didn't just chase me down and get a kill on me. Here, Ulix coming over from the river, but doesn't know I'm there. Unfortunately, Aldaris is going to push over middle lane tower, so doing a nice job of that. Teemo is a very good champ at pushing. Let's see, he's picked up Biowater Cutlass, so I guess he's going for maybe a Hextech Gunblade. I don't even know if Cutlass builds into anything else. I'll just check that here right now. And nope, only builds into a Gunblade. So yep, that must be the item that he's going for. Not a bad item on Teemo. I would probably pick up something else first though, over getting the Gunblade, but oh well, I mean, that's personal preference there. You can get different items. It's not a bad item on Teemo. Here, I'm trying to figure out which lane to head to. I wasn't 100% sure. Instead, Speaker and I decided to go bottom lane because there's this big minion wave pushing, and now that this tower is down in top, there's not a huge motivation for Speaker to hang around top lane again. We would like to get their tower down if possible, but because our tower is down, Speaker doesn't really have to stay there and protect that lane too much. You can see Mookie's over here pushing back this latest wave in top, not having any trouble farming them. So we're just going to do a 2-champ push down here for the moment, Lux and Malzahar, and just see what we can do. I wish I had a ward so I could toss it over here for a little bit of protection, or over here in this brush. That's another good place to put it. But we do have visibility on some members of their team. You see we were just able to force Johnny Boy to disengage. There's the Ash Arrow from Atlas. Flash for a flash chasing here. Now kiting, slowing with those Frost Arrows. Is he going to be able to chase him down? Nope, don't think he's going to be able to. So nice escape from Johnny Boy. Meanwhile, up here in top lane, I'm able to catch Magus in that binding, and then Speaker's going to get off his ult, and right there, going to finish him off with laser. So that's some nice combo play, Malzahar and Lux. I was able to trap him in a binding, and then Speaker was able to use Malzahar ult to finish him off. Now here, going to miss on that binding against Ulix, but I do have my Lucent Singularity up. So there's the shield, first of all, so that we can harass without taking too much damage from the tower. Anyway, Ulix did take a lot of damage there. Looks like he's going to back off, but we still have this minion wave pushing. I'm going to hit on another binding on Legacy Stars. There is the Lucent Singularity, and Speaker's just going to finish him off with Malefic Visions, I think. Now Legacy Stars coming out. He is quite low, but he's going to do his best to try to defend this tower. Still, you can see my laser's almost back up again. The magic of having Lux on your team with cooldown reduction. So if I can hit on a binding, and there we go, going to hit on that binding. There's the shield on Speaker, and Speaker going to finish off, get the kill with Pool along with Silence. And so there we go. So we are actually going to get tower and 3 kills here in top lane. So you can see in succession we killed Magus, then we killed Ulix, then we killed Legacy Stars. So really good push there. Unfortunately, the rest of the team was struggling a little bit. Mookie just died somewhere, not exactly sure, died somewhere on the map. But on the way back, we are going to come down here and we're going to take Dragon. And with 4 champs here, going to go down very quickly, even without a smite. I don't think we really needed that vision ward there, but oh well, never hurts, I suppose. So anyway, there we go. We are going to now look to head for other lanes. You can see we're going to try to go after Aldaris here, and there is an unfortunate miss on that arrow from Atlas. If we had hit on that arrow, I think we would have been able to get a kill, as I could have followed that up with my binding. Should be using Lux Shield here to protect us from some of the damage. So there we go. Managed to hit Atlas on the recall, and I did protect us from a fair amount of damage there, but Team of Mushrooms did take their toll there, and so we were not able to chase down Aldaris. He did a nice job of escaping that, and Atlas did miss the arrow, so oh well. Anyway, you can see I'm doing quite well. 406, doing pretty well. Overall in the game, though, the overall kill score isn't quite as one-sided. You can see they're behind. The other team is behind, 17 to 11, but they're not behind by that much, and they've done quite a good job in terms of pushing. You can see they have top lane and middle lane down. So at this point in time, I'm out of position. Notice what I'm doing, what I'm not supposed to do. I got too close to the enemy team. Johnny Boy able to jump on me as Jax, and they're going to take me down there. So failing the first rule of playing as Lux, not keeping your distance. Mookie going in here, I really don't know why he was going in and engaging there. He could have escaped that fight pretty easily. But notice that Speaker's up here wasn't a good fight. We never should have gone and engaged in the first place. They had 5 there the whole time. We only had 4, so why pick a 5-on-4 or a 4-on-5 fight? It's just, you know, it's just a silly decision, so we shouldn't have gone in there. I got caught. I was out of position. Mookie really should not have chased into this brush. That was very avoidable. So anyway, mistakes by our team. Didn't do a good job in that particular fight. And notice that the other team has another tower here. So even though we're ahead and it feels like it's been kind of a comfortable game, this is not over yet. But Johnny Boy making a poor decision there, getting caught by Speaker's ult. And really, Speaker kind of just walked. Speaker didn't even have to flash in. He kind of just walked up, used pool plus ult. So that was a pretty needless death. But nevertheless, they are going to push bottom lane. They're going to get this tower too. So this has been a very successful push for the other team. The team of YouTube followers, they got 2 kills earlier on, 2 kills, then they're able to turn that into 2 towers. So 2nd level tower mid and outside tower here. So they have all of our outside towers down. They have 4 towers down. We only have 3 towers down. So they're actually ahead of us in terms of map control with the towers. We do have the 2 dragons down. We are ahead in kills. We're definitely ahead in farm too. We're actually really, really far ahead in farm. So that's a good sign. But nevertheless, I mean, we're not as far ahead as we really should be because we made a very careless play. And had the 2 of us killed there in that team fight that we never should have engaged in the first place. Anyway, I picked up an Oracle. I finished Death Cap. I'm trying to clear any wards that they might have around Baron. They actually don't have any wards around Baron. Oracle also good because I can clear Teemo Mushrooms with it. So here we go, trying to engage. That's a terrible binding there, just missing everything there. But I am going to get a nice Lucid Singularity and nice Lux Laser off. So I managed to hit all of them, and Speaker just blows up Ulix there. Now we're trying to chase Aldaris here, and watch, I'm actually going to slow this down right here as I hit on my best binding in the game. So right up at the top, Aldaris is going to get finished off, and watch this binding here. Going to go up and just manage to hit Legacy Saurus, and that is going to mean an instant kill on poor Legacy, who can't get out of this. So sorry to slow it down there, but that's one of the better bindings I've ever hit. And can we manage to finish off Johnny Boy? There's the flash, and no, he's actually going to get away. Flash and then Jax leap onto a minion, so nice escape there. But we are going to score 3 kills there from the enemy team. They were a little bit disorganized. We were able to take them down. Here, Dakota was trying to take red buff, and he nearly died to the red buff, or nearly died to the lizard, so that wasn't the best play. But right now, with having so many members of their team down, still 2 members of their team down for the immediate future, and they have no jungler, so they have no smite. So we are going to make the aggressive play here and go for Baron. It's aggressive, but at the same time, we can force the enemy team to come out and engage with us. And they do still have 2 champs missing. Remember, no global ults here. They do have teleport on Amumu, but we know they have no wards because I just checked with my Oracle. So technically, he could teleport in. Anyway, watch what the Lux shields are doing here. Watch how much damage the Lux shields are protecting against our team. So that was very helpful there in that fight, and we're going to score the Baron. And now we've gone from being, this has gone from being, well, a relatively close game up to being a game where we're very, very far ahead. So there we go. Speaker going to catch Johnny Boy with his ult, doing a nice job. I'm going to catch him in my binding there, and so that is going to finish off a kill for us here. Now, Ulix and Dakota just sort of walking together, not attacking each other. A little funny there. We have Baron buff, so we're going to have a lot of health and mana regen, but nonetheless, notice that I have no mana. So even with my crazy mana regen, I actually have 70 magic regen per 5. Even with that, I want to go back to base and I want to purchase here. I do have 1,500 gold. I can turn it into something. So we decided not going to try to push into mid. We'll go back and buy. We'll try to grab neutral buffs on the field. You can see our blue is up. We're going to want to grab it for someone. I think we're going to go and take it for someone. Maybe not next, but in any case, I am going to pick up a Negatron Cloak. I only had 30 magic resist, and I was starting to feel a little vulnerable with only 30 magic resist. So rather than build more ability power, I do just have the Death Cap and Doran's Ring. That's all I have in terms of ability power. But I still do have almost 300 with Baron buff added to it as well. So for my next item, I'm probably going to build Banshee's Veil. And in this intervening time, we're going to go grab, what is it, blue buff for Speaker. You can see I threw the Lux Shield on him to reduce at least a little bit of the damage from that Teemo Mushroom. And so there we go. Going to take that buff for him. And now that everybody's had a chance to heal, had a chance to buy, now we're going to make our push with Baron and see if we can try to polish off this game. On their team, you can see that Aldaris has gotten a lot of farm, but he hasn't gotten any kills, and now their team is just in a bad position here. I'm going to catch Ulix in that binding. Then I'm going to put him in the slow, and he's not going to be able to get away. There's the Lux Laser. Going to finish him off, so I'm going to get the kill with my laser there. and we are now going to have a 5-on-4 advantage with Baron for the next 35 seconds. So we're going to have a pretty big edge here, and they're just not strong enough at this point to prevent us from rolling over them. Anyway, once again, you can see I've got the Oracle, so I can just take out the mushrooms, or people can just walk over them, in which case I can use my shield to try to reduce some of the damage they're taking. There we go, there's a nice binding. Going to catch Johnny Boy in the middle of it, doing a lot of damage with that Lucent Singularity there. I'm going to try to hit them with my laser, only get Magus though, not the best laser, but we are going to get a kill on Legacy Saurus. He came forward to use his Death Lotus with Katarina there, but that is going to take him down. A lot of mushrooms here, so Eldaris did a nice job with these mushrooms. It's just with Oracle and then Lux shields. Anyway, catch Johnny Boy in another binding. He is going to, looks like, use Cleanse out of it there, but Speaker is going to put his Malefic Visions on him, and that's going to finish him off. Yeah, I did take Cleanse on Jax there. Anyway, now here we go. There's another pool on Ulix there, and there we're just going to blow him up as a team. A very nice Pillar of Filth from Mookie, forcing him away from his tower. And at this point, with us being this far ahead and so many members of their team being dead, we're just going to start snowballing and rolling over their team here. So we're going to try to finish this off. Gonna take down these Nexus turrets. Gonna see if we can get any more kills. There's a point blank arrow, and there we go. Gonna burst down Magus, and he really didn't have a chance there. You can see I'm using my shield to protect Atlas from those towers. Did shield quite a bit of damage. Here we go. Next, we're gonna try to engage in here on Legacy Saurus. Gonna ult, and let's get that Lux laser. Demacia gonna take him down there, and that's gonna be the end of the game. So we're gonna roll over this one and finish it off in a game that maybe wasn't all that close, but it was a lot of fun to play, and that's why I wanted to put it up here. So anyway, there you go. Let's look at the stats. Here are the stats from the match. You can see ended up 5-1-15. Good Lux game overall. I was pretty happy with how I did in terms of hitting on the light bindings and setting up the team for the rest of the kills. Had some pretty good Lux shields at times too, I think, in terms of those team fights at the end. Lux, if you can get a Lux shield that shields, 200 to 250 damage on each member of your team, and you're able to hit on both the toss going out and the toss coming back again, that makes a really big difference in team fights if you can get that off. Did get killed the one time. I was a little out of position, got picked off by the enemy team. They just jumped all over me. But on the whole, thought that game went pretty well. Speaker did have the 5 deaths, but you can see the 13 kills, the 7 assists. Speaker had the toughest assignment on the team, playing the 2v1 lane, and he handled that very well. He did suffer a little trouble right when his opponents hit level 6, when I think Johnny Boy and Legacy Saurus both hit 6 and then started ulting him. He had a little trouble there, but other than that, did very well, did the most damage, and was really carrying our team there in the late game. He was getting almost all the kills right at the end. Mookie did a good job jungling. At times picked some poor engagements to go in on things, but at the same time also did an overall good job of jungling. And you can see 657, pretty good. Atlas got really farmed, didn't get that many kills. He did hit on 1 or 2 nice arrows, did whiff on the one arrow very badly, but overall had some nice play and certainly had the most farm in the game. And then Dakota handled himself quite well, I think, for someone who is like level 12, level 13, playing with all 30s in all level 30 players in the game. So I think he handled himself well. Certainly didn't mess up or anything. I mean, made some mistakes certainly, and the farming stat could be better, but handled himself well in a game with players who had a lot more experience than he did. So like I said, this was from Tuesday Night Game Night. We'll do that again next week. So if any of you who are listening are around, it's on the US servers. Again, I have had some people ask about whether I'm on the European servers. Sorry, don't have an EU account. It took me months and months to get my own account leveled up to 30 and get most of the champions. I'm just not willing to go through that again on a separate server. So apologies to those of you who play on EU. But I am on the American servers every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. and there's more information about that up on my channel. So take a look there if you want to hear more about it. Anyway, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. And for the moment, I have no plans to stop. So we'll keep going and we'll see if we can do another 200 videos. All right, so until then, take care, guys. I'll see you later.